but almost 20 years in the game.
So how you stay level-headed throughout all of that?
You are who you are. When Jay-Z said that was just the top layer, man, you was who you was for you got here. That's who you are. And somebody asked me how, this is the only way I know how to be. How I'm talking to you right now is how I talk to my friends. Every bit of who I am is who I've always been. People who knew me when I was 17 years old will say, the way he's speaking right now, the way he believes and the way he is the same exact way, the mannerisms and everything. Now I was a little more emotional about things. I would get a little more angry and about certain things as a young. But as far as vision, as far as understanding and having a reverence for the business, that's just who you are. Life can also humble you in ways, but I went through things, but I don't feel like those things humbled me in that sense. I feel like who you are is who you are. And I always believed in being nice and being good to people and being kind and being polite and being on time and respecting people's time. Things like that, that's just who I am. So being in the game, yeah, you get more seasoned, you get more conditioning to figure out and learn and adjust and adapt. But who you are is who you are. When you're a nice person, you're a good person, you're God-fearing, that's just who you are. That's a part of your character.
And what about you, Clean? I know you've been managing, old talent and new talent. I know you've been around Ross, Plies, you got Glock, Mooski, a lot of people. Like, how do you feel about what's your perspective on the new generation and the old generation?
Well, one of the greatest things about the old generation that the new generation still get a chance to experience their legacy. I believe there's some young kids out there that know there's a such thing as an Erykah Badu. And where did she come from? She's been here for years before they were actually born. To be able to experience classics, it's a great thing. It's like I lived through the classic, and I think about my son, and I go share. So this person been around before Dad, and I'm still bumping them. And what I would say to young kids, it's funny how their parents don't get a chance to play their music. I'm talking about the young vibe. Play their music while they're cleaning up, or play their music while they're in the house. That's something that they won't get a chance to experience. And that kind of puts the seed of music in you if you're a music head. Yeah. And I wish that I could see a young artist today and know that their music is going to play 20 years from now. I just wish that the younger audience would take a little more pride in their music so that it would last. Because the longer that it lasts, the longer that their kids can eat off of it. I watched these stats, and me and Renee sat and we looked at stats, and I was like, it's funny, like when the stats stop, it just stopped. Ain't no more money. It's just that. That's it. It's very few kids that's gonna get sampled from this era 20 years from now. It's so much money they're missing out that would help their legacy. Because it's 1,000 of them doing the same thing. Yeah. And the classic era was a whole bunch of people doing their thing. It was 1,000 lanes. The young era don't have 1,000 lanes. They got about 3. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna take care of my homie, or I'm gonna slut a girl out, or I'm gonna wear some nice clothes. About 4 lanes.
But you know what though? There are timeless bodies of work that still exist. In fairness. I think that Future's last album is an incredible body of work, right? I think that Kendrick's last album is an incredible body of work, right? I look at Jay Electronica, I look at a lot of acts. I look at Drake and 21. I think that Kodak's last project was incredible. I think about artists. They are artists who are telling a story and who are doing a great job in telling that story. But what I have to keep reminding you, because I don't ever want the youth to listen to me and think that I'm shunning the entire generation. And I know that's not what you're doing either, B, because B is an advocate for the youth. What I will say, though, is I'm reminding you there are 600,000 songs released every day on Spotify. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the fact that, by the way, there are a tremendous amount of incredible talent that's coming up. JID, Baby Tate. We think about a lot of tons of talented acts that are coming up that are making quality music that I believe have potential to be great. Alex Vaughn, Summer Walker's, her. There are tons of acts that are doing well. What I'm talking about is the masses who are seeing a tremendous amount of artists release music that lack any thought. You know what I mean? And so when I listen to acts, when I listen to Kodak say, he could act like he is taking time to make those records.
He mastered, to me, he mastered the art of raw emotion. And when you master emotion in music, I think that people feel you no matter what.
All he's doing is being himself on the record. But I'm not talking about that. I'm listening to the song. He's putting a song together. He can act like you just doing it. You can act like it's, but I'm telling you, I know hit records. I know songs. He's making records and he's intentional about it. When I listen to Neff and Few, God Rest His Dead, to Take Off, but when I listen to that project, incredible project. They picking beats that's incredible. I said the other day, whoever picked Migo beats, just get in the studio with me and just run them down and let's just go through them. Think about it. Migos pick some amazing production. Amazing production. So I think about that and I say there are tons of acts that are taking time to make sure the music is quality and substantive, right? But I'm talking about the fact that they are far more putting up shots and getting a decent amount of attention and aren't putting the same amount of effort to make sure that there's a quality or level of quality there.
And to piggyback off Rico, what Rico was saying, so now my sons have artists, right? And I was sitting with the artist and I said, okay, you just killed somebody on the record, right? 1 million people just did that too. But won't you tell me about, won't you ask the generation, are you gonna take care of your homie's kid?
Yeah.
2 months after he in the ground?
Mm.
Are you gonna give mama a napkin at the funeral?
Are you even gonna pay for the funeral?
Right. You know,
Can't pay
That's
for
too
it.
much.
right. So my thinking is, from an OG to the young brothers, if it's all the same words, just from a different person, I'm asking you just to dig a little deeper because that's what makes classics. Classics are just people that just dug a little deeper. I'm cool with everything that they're doing, but they got to go through their process. And this is one of a prayer that I prayed for many, many years. I was like, God, let some of these young artists that the world look down on live to get 25, because they're growing a lot faster. And if he lived to be 25, the story that he was telling at 16 is not going to be the same story. So I believe that God answered my prayer when I saw NBA.
Young boy.
Yeah, when YoungBoy decided to cry out and say, I can't believe when I listen to my music and look at my interviews that I caused a whole lot of riding, a whole lot of, that, and it caused a lot of demise. And I said, well, God, that's all I ever wanted to see from the youth. Just live through it, because so many of them was dying and they never got a chance to live through and say what they learned from that. I'm like, let them do it all. Let them be on demon time. Let them have ops. Let them have choppers. Give them all of that time, because I was once that kid. But also, give them a chance to live. Pray that they live, because them same ones gonna reach back. And say, boy, it's not the same. Now that I grew up a little bit. G Herbo is another one that said, man, let us all just take our L's. Your side got somebody, our side got somebody. Let's just take the L's and let's move on and learn to love one another. But that comes from experiencing. You know what I'm saying? So that's been my prayer.
Also, experiencing a certain level of success and having the right. Because what happens is, if I'm successful and I got 50 guys with me and I'm staying with the same 50 guys, always know this. If my guys have no purpose around me, and Byron taught me this, if your guys got no purpose around you except beef and protecting you, then they are going to create situations where they can be useful.
Because it makes them valuable.
Hear what I'm saying? If my only use to you is beef, I'm going to create situations that make me useful. So if I'm surrounded by people who serve no purpose except for when it's drama, I know they're going to shoot. Then guess what? They're going to create some drama to make sure I got to be around. I got to be around. Because if there ain't no beef, sooner or later he going to look up and realize, I don't need all these people. So what happens is when you start surrounding yourself with other people, when you start eating good and living good, and then you get locked up and you're like, bro, I'm in jail. I got $16 million in the bank. I'm in jail? This is crazy. Then you start saying, you know what, bro? I don't want to fight no more. I don't want to shoot no more. I want to come home and stay home. It don't make sense. So you got to figure out who around you. And a lot of these guys are starting to realize, I'm enjoying this. I like the way I eat. I like these clothes. I like this house. Why am I fighting with everybody? Why am I shooting? And those guys are going to be the ones that wake up and be able to tell the story. And some ain't going to make it. There's a lot of guys that ain't going to make it out.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, young. Because, you know, what I do, I meet, you know, these artists in the streets. Yeah, they got what they got going on, but it's like, when I meet them, it's a whole different perspective. You feel me? It's not like, we don't talk about them being in the streets or how many bodies they got or stuff like that. It's just like, yo, I really love this music stuff. I want to win plaque. I want to win Grammys. You know what I'm saying? Then for them to like not be able to make it that far because, you know, they get lost, their lives get lost in the street, it just be looking crazy to them. It's like, dang, you didn't even get to live your whole life and achieve your dreams and everything like that. You feel me? So it just be looking crazy, bro.
Isn't the game a lot different though, Clean? Like, think about this, bro. Think about this. When we were coming up, the killer wasn't the rapper, his homeboy was. So the guy on the side of his homeboy was the one who told his homeboy's story and told the story from the street's perspective. So then when he became famous, people thought, oh, this guy's a gangster, he's a tough guy. Now he's from the streets, he's from the community, but his homeboy couldn't get on the record and say that. Because by the way, you see all these kids catching Ricos. See, the street guys when I was growing up knew that would happen. So they didn't rap. You know what I mean? They did not rap because they felt like, I'm going to jail. I don't need no attention on me like that, right? Now, in order for you to work,